Good morning, students. Today we are going to study human impact on environment. So this includes various factors. So we'll start from the very first, that environmental problems. There are types of environmental problems, like first is natural disaster, second is man-made disasters. So NDA syllabus and CDA syllabus. In both the exams, you have this particular topic. They may ask you question on the basis of natural disaster and man-made disaster. So you need to have basic understanding of these concepts. So environmental problems includes two types of problems. First is natural disaster, second is man-made disaster. So we'll start with the natural disaster. First is flood, second cyclone, third earthquake, fourth forest fire, tsunami and landslide. So this is the list of natural disasters. We are going to study these all disaster in detail one by one. Second is man-made disaster. First, in that man-made disaster, first is deforestation and loss of ecosystem. Second one is air, water and land pollution. There are other types of pollution also, but here it has given air, water and land pollution. Soil pollution is also there. Nuclear pollution is also there. So third is depletion of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels includes oil, coal and natural gas. Next is concentration of pesticide in organism leading to biomagnification. Next is depletion of ozone layer and global warming. And last one is unhygienic living condition due to generation of what? Waste. Due to generation of waste, you can say. There is typing mistake. Okay. Now we'll look at the topics one by one. First is natural disaster. There are some agencies which are working for this particular disaster, which gives prior information about these disasters. Like cyclone, we have Indian Meteorological Department, which gives prior information about the cyclone. Next is tsunami. If you want prior information of the tsunami, so we have the agency which is called as Indian National Center for Oceanic Information Services. Next is floods. We have Central Water Commission. For landslide, we have Geological Survey of India. For avalanches which occurs in snow area, means where we have glacier, in those areas we have these avalanches. Snow and Avalanche Study Establishment. This is the agency working for the detection of avalanches. Heat and cold waves. Indian Meteorological Department is working to give information about the heat and cold waves. So these are the agencies which are responsible for keeping the track of development of these disasters. These disasters occurs at the national level, local level, district level, and at the global level also. So we'll study one by one. First one is flood. As India has many rivers and we have the tropical climate, we have monsoon type of climate. So we have water in ample amount of water we have because of the rivers and monsoon season. During the monsoon season, flood occurs. Frequency of flood getting increased during the monsoon. Why? Because in monsoon season only we have the rivers full of water. Flooding is the condition where capacity of river getting reduced. It cannot hold the water anymore. So inadequate capacity of inadequate capacity of river to hold the water. Because of that only flood occurs. Why does flood occurs? First reason is high rainfall. Second is inadequate capacity to hold water. So these are the reasons, primary reasons behind the floods. Now you can see the pictures. You can see the pictures here. Two pictures are there which are related to flood. Almost all the Indian states are affected by the floods. Every year, 75 lakh hectare of land area is affected by the flood in India. This is the fact which you can keep in mind, that every year 75 lakh hectares of land is affected by flood. Because of flood, only not only land is getting affected, but there are other factors also because of the flood which are getting affected. First one was land. Second is now crops, houses. These are the public utilities. This is fourth. So first one was land. Second, which is getting affected, is crops. Third, public utilities. Public utilities. It includes public transport like system, public transport. This is the example of public utilities. So these are the reasons behind floods and affected regions of the flood because of the flood. Now we are looking at the preventive measures and management of the flood. There are steps by which we can control the flood, we can prevent the damage due to floods. First one is, we should not allow any construction in the riverbed. We should clean the water channels, reservoirs, safe disposal of the surplus water from the river. This is also very necessary to avoid the flood like condition. Now, building like public institutions, schools, railway tracks, stations, road, etc. need to build above the level that corresponds to flood. So we need to have these all structure above the level. So we should not come in contact with the flood water. Constructing the flood proof building. This is very advanced kind of solution, that constructing the flood proof building. Local community as well as authority need to have a ready plan for evacuation. We have IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, which can give us prior information about the flood. So if we are getting the prior information about the flood and all, so we should have a ready plan to get evacuate from that particular location. We have a team to handle the natural disasters, NDRF, Natural Disaster Response Force. So this is the team working for the this is the team work for works for the different natural disasters. It evacuates the people from that particular location. So NDRF's role is very important in case of natural disasters. Flood can also cause the epidemics. Epidemics means what? Diseases which are restricted to particular location. These are called epidemics. So where, suppose this is the location where we have flood like situation. So in this area, after the flood, we can see the outbreak of diseases. Outbreak of diseases. So in that particular area, these diseases are called the epidemics. Now, what are the types of diseases in this particular area? Chikungunya, dengue, malaria. Because of the dirty water after the flood, these diseases can occur. So these are the example of epidemics. And what is the special feature of the epidemics? Outbreak of these are the all contagious diseases and which can spread very rapidly. Because of flood, you will have the impact of these diseases. So you need to take the measure in advance before the flood comes. Now, second disaster is what? Cyclone. We have second disaster, cyclone. India has long coast. India has 7,500, approximately we can say 7,516 kilometer coastline. This is the length of coastline. We have our Indian coastline is vulnerable to tropical cyclone as we have India is peninsular region. So we have this long coastline. Here we have Arabian Sea, here Arabian Sea, and here we have Bay of Bengal. So where does cyclone occurs? Here. Cyclone comes in this region. So cyclonic condition, because of the cyclonic condition, these states are vulnerable to cyclone. Which are the state located near the coast? Here we have Maharashtra, Goa, Gujarat. Next is Karnataka, Kerala. Here we have Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu. So these are the states which are vulnerable to tropical cyclone. Between these two sea, Bay of Bengal is Bay of Bengal is the region where we are getting the cyclone frequent. Frequency of cyclone in Bay of Bengal is more than the Arabian Sea. There are particular seasons in which we can see the cyclone. First, pre-monsoon season, which we can see in month of April to May, April and May. Post-monsoon season, October to December. These 2 months and these 3 months. In these months only, we can see the cyclone. Why? Because cyclone to occur the cyclone, there is conditions. There are conditions to occur behind the cyclones. First one is pre-existing low pressure. In this month, we have the low pressure over the sea. We have low pressure in sea. That's why cyclone occurs. There are other factors also which are responsible for cyclone, but I'm telling you only one because this is related to environment we are studying. In geography, we have so many factors behind the cyclone. I'm telling you only one thing, that is pre-existing low pressure. Pre-existing low pressure over the sea. So this is the mandatory condition for cyclone. So these are the months in which you will have low pressure over the sea. And most of the cyclones occurs in these months only. See, it has given Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and West Bengal. These are the most affected states due to cyclone. Cyclone looks like this. They occur in circular manner. Now, Balasore district in Odisha, this is the most vulnerable district for cyclone landfall. Here, there is a new term for you, I guess. I'm considering that landfall is new concept for you. So what is landfall? Whenever cyclone occurs in that condition, suppose this is the sea coast. Cyclone has the very high speed. With high speed, when it strike to the coast of India, it will called as landfall. Whenever this cyclone strike to the land, it called as landfall. Why? Because when cyclone strike to the coastal area or land, it will no longer remain as a cyclone. It will destroy towards the land, because to cyclone, for maintenance of the cyclone, or when cyclone sustain, when it is in the sea, when it comes to the land, it will get destroyed. For a cyclonic condition, what is the mandatory condition? There should be low pressure over the sea. So when it comes to land, it will get destroyed. Cyclone occurs only in the sea. So this is called as landfall. So you can see landfall in Odisha, toward the coast of Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal. So we can consider these many states as the most affected state due to cyclone. Balasore is the district. Specific, if we talk about the specific district, then Balasore is the district in Odisha, which is most vulnerable district for cyclone landfall. When the severe cyclone occurs, these are called as a super cyclone. There was a condition in 1999 where in Odisha super cyclone occurred. October 29, 1999. The wind speed of that particular cyclone was 270 to 300 kilometer per hour was the speed of when that cyclone occurs. Whenever landfall condition is there, after every landfall of the cyclone, there is a condition of heavy rainfall. So when this super cyclone came in Odisha, after the landfall, continuously for 3 days, rainfall was there. So you have to remember this particular example. If you want to write in exam, you can write in your theory, as well as you can keep it as a case study for writing. This is one case study. So you can remember these facts as a case study. You can write in your exam, or else if it is asked in your MCQ pattern, you can also take the same answer. Just remember this date. Hmm? Example. What are the impacts of cyclone? Heavy losses are there to the agriculture, livestock, infrastructure, industries, and environment were badly devastated during the super cyclone which came in Odisha. So this you can see here. This is the cyclone. Cyclone flows in the anti-clockwise direction, like this. To rotate in anti-clockwise direction. Here at the center, if you can see, there is one center in the middle. This particular center is called as eye, eye of the cyclone. This is the cyclone, and this is the condition after cyclone. The disruption of the coastal life and property you can see in this picture. Now, what are the preventive measures and how you can manage the cyclonic condition? Whenever you are building any building like that. Whenever you are constructing any structure, you should keep in mind the cyclone safety measures. You should have extra food and enough drinking water stored in advance. You should have flashlights, matchbox, candles. You should have these things ready. In case of cyclone, you should have a evacuation point. You should evacuate from that location. For that, as I told you, NDRF team is there, which is working for evacuating the people from affected region to safe region. Whenever cyclonic condition is there, you should keep calm and remain there until informed that you may return to home. Should not be panic. After the cyclone has passed, get yourself inoculated against the diseases, because every cyclone, because after every cyclone and flood, there is a chance of outbreak of disease. So you should inoculate it. You should isolate yourself for some days. You should take medical care, etc. Now, earthquake. This is the third kind of natural disaster. We have done with the flood, cyclones. Now, third is earthquake. Earthquake is very common phenomena. What is the definition of earthquake? It is kind of shaking, rolling, and sudden shock of Earth's surface. This is the simple definition of earthquake. Because of earthquake, as we have, you all must have aware of the earthquake which occurred in Bhuj area. We take example of Maharashtra in Latur district. Killari village was there, which was very famous for earthquake. If you want to quote any example, you can quote the example of Bhuj, which is there in Gujarat, and Killari of Maharashtra. You can give these examples for the earthquake. Now, one more example is there, Anjar, which is near to Ahmedabad. In this particular areas, earthquake earthquake occurred on 26 January 2002. You can see the impact of this earthquake on YouTube also. There are so many videos made on this particular earthquake, so you can watch. Next is Latur in Maharashtra had experienced the similar natural disaster on 30th September 1993. If you are writing any descriptive answer, you can give example of this Ahmedabad and Maharashtra. So you should remember this date as well as these areas for writing the particular answer which are related to earthquakes. In case of severe earthquakes, intensity of shaking the buildings is high. So falling of wall may injure the people and property. So you should not stay at particular region where you are informed that earthquake is occurring. So you should evacuate from that particular location whenever the earthquake situation is there. Because of earthquake, pipelines get break, electricity lines get cut, there is a damage to the railway tracks, road routes. So these are the impacts of the earthquake. How we can measure the earthquake? There is a particular instrument which is called as seismograph. Seismograph. Now, if we break this word into two, then seismo plus graph. This is the machine where we can plot the graph of seismic waves. Because of the seismic waves, only earthquake occurs. So, this particular instrument gives the graph of seismic waves. So, this is called as seismograph. There are types of seismic waves like body wave and surface wave. These waves together called as seismic waves. Body waves which occurs in the lower crust. If you look at the structure of the earth, earth's interior, the very first layer is crust, second layer is mantle, and the third layer is of core. So within the body of the earth, there are waves which are called body waves, and on the surface, there are surface waves. So there are again two types of waves in body waves, like P waves, which are called as primary waves, and second wave is called as S wave, that is secondary waves. So there are two types of waves: P waves, primary waves, and secondary waves, which comes under the category of body wave. Second wave, second type of waves is surface wave. Here only one type of wave is there, L waves. This is also called as relief wave. You will learn this all in your geography section. In geography section, you have the types of waves in very detail. Okay. Now we'll look at the earthquake. These are the types of seismic waves. Now, what is the instrument to measure the earthquake? Seismograph. There are scales by which we can measure the earthquake. First scale is of Richter scale, by which you can measure the intensity of earthquake. Intensity. To measure the intensity, we have Richter scale. It starts from the 0 to 10. This is the range of that particular scale. Now, one more scale is there, Mercalli scale. So, by mistake, I told you intensity. Sorry, but Richter scale is used to measure the magnitude. In textbook also it has given, it is not intensity. The Richter scale is used to measure the magnitude, magnitude of that particular earthquake. Now, one more scale is there, Mercalli scale. Now, this scale is used to measure the intensity. Mercalli scale is used to measure the intensity. Now, what is the range of this Mercalli scale? This is from 1 to 12. And what about the Richter scale? What is the range? 0 to 10. Richter scale is used to measure the magnitude of earthquake, and Mercalli scale is used to measure the intensity of earthquake. These two scales, you have to remember these two scales. In NDA exams, earthquake, NDA as well as CDS. Questions on earthquake were there. So you have to learn the earthquake topic, very important topic it is. So you have to learn all the facts and concept related to earthquake. So you need to remember the scales also. There were many questions related to this particular section, Richter scale and Mercalli scale. So intensity is not there. We can measure the magnitude of the earthquake on the Richter scale. So up to 3, what is the extent of damage? There is no damage to the life and property. If it is 5 on that Richter scale, it is showing 5, then crack to the old buildings. If it is 7, then cracks in roads. If it is above 7, then we will consider this as a severe kind of earthquake where falling of buildings there. So above 5, it we will consider major earthquake are there. Above the 5 Richter scale, we are using the Richter scale, and on that particular scale, above the 5 digit, this we can consider this earthquake as severe kind of earthquake. Now, impact of severe earthquakes. Now it has given the one case study again in Sikkim on 18th September 2011 on your TV monitor or pictures in the print media. Means severe kind of earthquake was there in Sikkim. In which year? In 2011. You can give the example of severe earthquake with the help of this particular case study. Collapsing of building and build up debris. Look at this picture. How severe earthquake can impact the human life. Not only human life, but the property damage is also there. Severe earthquake damage the road, bridges, dams, fields, settlements. And this can cause the fire due to short circuits. So there is loss of human life as well as property. Now, what are the preventive measures and management? You can build structure, roads, dams, bridges, etc. This all structure you can build with the earthquake resistant architecture. Okay. This is the one solution. In the event of earthquake, what you can do, stay as safe as possible. Be aware that some earthquake are actually foreshocks and larger earthquake might follow. Minimize your movement to a few steps to nearby safe place and stay indoors. Try to stay indoors. You should not come out from your house. Okay, whenever earthquake like situation is there, you should stay indoors. Stay away from the glass, window, doors, walls, electricity pole, trees, anything that could fall on you. You should stay away from that particular structure. You should not use elevator. You should not run towards the staircase door. Okay. You should stay away from the heavy things which can fall on you. So these are the preventive measures from the earthquake. Now, there are more preventive measures like if you are traveling, stop the vehicle away from the building, wall, and slope and try to stay in that car only. And in that condition, keep calm and stand under the strong beams that may not fall or creep under the dining table and strong bed. Now, after an earthquake, keep calm, switch on the radio, TV so that you will get the all information related to earthquake. Obey any instruction you hear on it. You should follow the instruction whatever in your television that speaker is giving to you. You should obey that instructions. Keep away from the benches, low bank of river. Huge waves may sweep in. Be prepared for the aftershock. Now there is one activity. 18 September 2011, there was a severe earthquake in Sikkim. As we have already seen it, in Sikkim there was severe kind of earthquake. Earthquake was also experienced in Delhi, NCR region, National Capital Region at the same time. Why is it that there was a loss of property, human life, diversity, biodiversity in Sikkim, whereas no such damage was there in Delhi? This is the activity which you have to perform, which you have to complete. You can search it on Google. You can take the help of YouTube also to complete this particular activity. Now, next is forest fire. Next type of disaster is forest fire. From the prehistoric type, forest and fire have remained inseparable. From very past, we can see these activities. Whenever temperature goes high, in that condition, you can see the forest fire. Forest fire have major cause of concern because it threaten the human habitat, deprive the human from accessing the forest resources. We have so many things uh, which we can bring from the forest, like fruit. We are depending on the fossil fuels. For fossil fuels, we are dependent on the forest only. So forest resources are very important for the human habitat, for the humans. And whenever forest fire condition is there, we can't use those forest resources. Full benefit of forest resources can be obtained only if timber wood is protected from the fire. Because from forest only we get the timber. Where do we use this particular wood? In case of furniture, this is hardwood. So if you want to make the any structure, what we call as furniture, to beautify our houses, we use this particular wood. So this is very hard wood. If we can protect this wood from the fire, then we can utilize this wood for furniture. And there are several things where we can use this timber. So it is important to have a timber. After the forest fire, we can have impact of diseases, insects. Forest cover in India is 19.27 approximately, which is in terms of hectare, 63.3 million hectares area is covered with the forest. If we look at the data, every 2 years we have the data on forest. So we have forest cover in MP. MP has the large forest cover in terms of state. We look at the data, forest report. MP has the largest cover of the forest. So we can say MP is vulnerable to forest fire as it has the large forest area, large area which is under the forest. Overall, if you look at the data of the India, it has the 19.27% area under the forest. Now there are three types of forest fire: natural or controlled fire. Example, by lightning, by lightning striking dry trees. Lightning striking dry trees. Whenever monsoon season is there, lightning is the phenomena, very common phenomena it is. Hello? So because of this striking of the lightning, forest fire can be there. Forest fire caused by the heat generated in the litter and other biomasses. In summer season, temperature is very high. So in that dry condition and high temperature, biomass can have the heat, higher level of heat, and forest fire can occur. Human negligence because of the careless dropping of the matchstick or cigar stubs, we can see the impact of forest fire. Now, effects of the forest fire. Fires are the major cause of forest degradation and have wide ranging adverse ecological, economical, and social impacts are there. We can say that because of the forest fire, we lost the forest resources on which we are relying. Loss of valuable timber resources because of the forest fire. The major impact is on biodiversity. There are so many animals, birds, which are residing in the forest. So there are so many animals which are already in the extinct category, or which are, we consider them as endangered. So these are all vulnerable animals. If forest fire is there, we can lose these species of the animals. So we can consider forest fire is very disastrous activity for not only humans but for animals, plants. There might be cases of extinction of the plants. There are very rare species of the plants in our, we can see in our biodiversity. So plants and animal contribute for the biodiversity. So in forest fire, we can lose these rare species of the plant and animals. Loss of natural vegetation is there. Reduction in the forest cover. Forest cover is important for controlling the cyclone as well as flood-like conditions. Forest tree has the roots, so roots can absorb the more water in case of flood. If we have forest cover, we can control this flood condition. For example, in West Bengal, we have mangrove forest. What is the significance of this particular forest? This particular forest, mangrove forest, can help us to get rid of cyclone. We can prevent the cyclonic condition and flood-like condition with this mangrove forest, as this forest has the more absorption capacity. This has the roots. This particular plant has the, which are helpful in the absorption of the more water. So mangrove forests are very helpful to control the cyclonic condition and flood-like condition. So we should have the forest cover, save the life of many people who are residing near the coast. Fires may lead to degradation of catchment areas. Other environmental impacts. So preventive measures and management to control this forest fire. Get dry litter during the summer. Get dry litter, example, dying twigs, leaves, etc. removed during the summer season, as these are the materials which get burn easily. So we should remove these during the summer season. Move animals far from the this forest fire. We should move those animals and the objects which can easily get burned, and we can move those